Hello YouTube, I'm TBennett115 and today I have for you a breakdown of the campaign trailer for Back 4 Blood. I was live streaming this on Twitch. It is a lengthy video, but since you actually clicked on it, it lets me know that you are actually invested in wanting to watch this. So if you like the video, please like it. If you want to follow my Twitch, link in the description, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Here we go.
We have strolled across our world as giants until we finally faced our David. This tiny worm whose emergence was buried beneath the mountain of politics. That's all it took to show us how insignificant we are. And by the time people paid attention, it was already too late. But now, there is hope. There are those among us that are not cowed by the terrors of this new world. Ones that are immune to the scourge and are ready to raise arms and take back what is ours.
Spare us the poetry, fucknuts. How do we kill it?
Need ammo here!
We need to take this opportunity to press our advantage.
Another way! Back off!
Look, you know how I feel about Phillips, but he's right about one thing. This is a war.
I built this town and I'll be damned if I let you destroy it.
This is not good!
Somebody's got to do something.
And you're that somebody?
Didn't say I wanted to do it alone, did I?
Here's my prescription, bitch! We need to get out of here now!
Winners, it's time to live up to your name.
Stay down!
Now it's up to you to finish the job.
Okay. Let's watch it one more time and let's actually talk over it and let's point out some stuff. Okay. So right off the bat, we see this guy, and I'm guessing that this is Phillips because I don't really recognize. This could just be a random person. It maybe kind of looks like Phillips, but this kind of almost looks like a black guy, and Phillips is very white. So it could be someone. Here's something I noticed the second time that I watched the trailer. Remember this part right here for a future part. Okay, just remember the explosion and why it's blue. We'll come back to it.
Giants until we finally
So we've got Mom, who's just a badass.
this tiny worm.
We have the worm that started all the infection. You know, it kind of took me back a second because the graphics on this thing look something from like out of like a PS2 game. Like everything, like look at the glass and look at the scratch marks and look at like the deterioration on like the rim of the glass and just like so many details, everything in this shot. But then the actual like thing itself looks really bad. It looks really like everything is smooth. There's no details. There's no depth to like its skin where it's like holes are and stuff. And then like the weird slimy stuff around it just looks really bad. So, you know, but whatever, it is just this one shot. So we'll move on from it.
Mountain of politics.
You know, we don't, oh, I was going to say, yeah, that's true. It could be an outfit. It could be something. Well, here's the thing is that I was going to say, if it's an outfit, it'll be for him. You know, our characters could have on that same outfit. That would be cool to unlock, like hazmat suits. We see Hoffman, Evangelo, and Holly here, along with someone else that I can't really tell. I think it might be Mom. Based on like the hat, it kind of looks like it's Walker. It's Walker. Okay, so he's got the red hat. He's got the blue shirt is what gave it away actually. Meeting up with some guy. This is definitely not Phillips. unless this is like a flashback, but all of our characters look the same, and this guy looks a lot different.
Urgence was buried beneath the mountain of politics.
Yeah, because that guy does not look the same.
Of politics.
You know, we have already seen. Here, let's slow this down to at least 7.5 so it's easier. Here is definitely we do recognize this spot. This is, you know, we'll save that stuff for breaking it down. We will save pausing the video for breaking it down later. We'll just talk over it for now without pausing it. So we have a snitch there.
Already too late.
We have so we have an armory.
There is hope.
There's Fort Hope.
There are those among us.
We're definitely going to slow that down because that magazine going into that clip was pretty crazy. We see Jim fighting back there in the back of the truck. You know, this is obviously from Act 1 where you blow up the,
Spare us the poetry, fucknuts. How do we kill it?
from the first act where you blow up the boat. There is Phillips. You know, that is definitely not the same guy that we saw earlier. You know, this guy looks bald, he looks slimmer, and he obviously is a very military man. Yeah, which is not the same guy that we saw earlier.
Another way. Back off.
Look, you know how I feel about Phillips.
See a new weapon there? We saw a new melee weapon. Which they said all the weapons were revealed in the beta, so obviously that was a lie. We have an ogre here smashing through the roof.
Somebody's got to do something.
Or not smashing, just falling.
Somebody?
Didn't say I wanted to do it alone.
We've got some kind of... I think this level looks badass.
Here's my prescription, bitch.
The doc sounds even more badass than I thought she was going to be. She seemed like she was going to be like a goody two shoes character that like just healed people, but she sounds badass now. I love whoever's doing the voice work for Doc. And then we had the finale where everyone's staring down at this giant creature that we've seen in another trailer, and we just got just the face of it. But now we kind of get even more of a scale of how big this creature actually is. Most likely that final shot of the helicopter going over it is going to be the very, very final mission of the game. You know, it might be like in like the beginning of the final act or something, or maybe the end of Act 3. We might get to like see a snippet of that creature, but I'm guessing that is going to be the very, very final boss in the game. That is going to, you might even have to fight it over multiple levels, kind of like how the ogre works, where it pops up, you shoot it a bunch, and then it runs away, and then it pops up later in the level, and you shoot it and you try to kill it again. So that could be how that creature works, but we don't know. The only thing is I'm fairly certain it's going to be like in the final act. So now let's go through it. Let's do it at half speed. You know. I actually didn't even notice like the 4 from the Back 4 Blood there, like zoomed in to the shot. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Didn't even notice that. So we have some guy here. He could be significant. He could not. You never know. He's obviously, you know, the first thing I thought of is why is the smoke like a bluish aqua color? So there's that. Actually, hold on. And before I forget, let me check my, sorry. Oh, you didn't send me a friend request yet. Dog? Dino lover. Dang it. Okay. I'm gonna go check my friend request. Could it be Walker? You know what? It's true. It could be Walker. Let's look at his face again. Okay. So he's got brown eyes. And that's really all we get from this. You know, if we get a shot of Walker close up later, we can try to compare the two. But really the only thing we've got very distinctually about this guy is that he has brown eyes. And that's it. So, yeah, well, it's like, okay, no problem. So I'm wondering if we can get a shot of Walker. And does he have brown eyes? I'm sure we have multiple shots of Walker in the trailer. But yeah. Oh wait, hold on, right here. Well, that's not zoomed in enough. I guess because I'm so used to seeing his beard and hat, it totally could be Walker. But it's really hard to tell. I mean, you can't see a beard, you can't see a mustache. He obviously isn't wearing a hat. And we can't get a close enough zoom on Walker's face. So I do it through my laptop because my phone app doesn't work. Oh, that's so... Well, I mean, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Your phone doesn't work. That's weird. Yeah, the phone app for Steam, if you guys haven't used it before, it's actually pretty weird. It's a pretty slow app to begin with anyway, but yeah. Anywho. All right. So all right, so we have that first shot of the blue thing, and then we have Mom here, who had... Oh, this is something... This is just a little nitpick, but I never really noticed this. The earrings that she's wearing is definitely not earrings that you would wear when you go out for a zombie apocalypse. If something grabs a hold of those and snatches off your ear, or grabs a hold of it and then tugs on you, and then you get pulled with it and then die... I mean, if you're falling from something and it gets snagged on something, like those are not the earrings that you would wear when your life depends on it every single day. So that I kind of had a quarrel with. I get that like her character would wear them, but it needs to be more about survival. We've got some kind of shot of a bridge where they're like falling off of it. We have the shot of the scientist. We've already seen this in other trailers where he gets, hit, attacked by the thing. She does look badass, though. That's true. And then we've got this guy who looks kind of like, if you guys ever played, Nazi zombies on Call of Duty, he looks like Dempsey, Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty. But he's just, we have our weapons ready. We have them at the ready, and he also has one. So he's definitely, he's a survivor, but also in the background, you can notice there looks to be like an air mattress of some kind. So this might be some place where where like they're held off. He might even have other people here. It might be some kind of refugee. Maybe we're coming across another group of people that are survivors in one of the campaigns. My other thing that I'm wondering is if we actually end up having cutscenes, which it's giving me the feeling that we're going to have cutscenes in this game, which I wasn't really expecting because it's not the kind of game that would have cutscenes, but they've clearly gone in and done the motion capture work for the characters. The thing I'm wondering is, let's say you're playing with a group of Hoffman, Mom, Jim, and Doc. When you have the cutscene, are those characters going to be there in that cutscene, or is it going to default to Hoffman, Evangelo, Holly, and Walker? Because if it does, that really takes you out of the immersion of the cutscene. I'll be very, very surprised if the cutscenes, if we get cutscenes with the characters that we're playing as, and then on top of that, the characters actually have dialogue. They would have had to record the same thing over and over again with different sets of characters to get everyone in. Like, I think that would be pretty awesome. Looks like a church. Hey, just $8.99. Heck yeah. It definitely does look like a church. The first thing I thought of was, it might be the church that we save in like the 12th act of the game. Where like you board up the windows, but this is definitely a different church because there was no downstairs hallway of that church. But yeah, this is definitely a church. It looks like this might be some kind of refugee place where people are held up at. It might just be a meeting place to meet this one guy. But if it was just a meeting place, I don't know why they would have an air mattress there. So it makes me think that there's multiple people here. Haven't seen the trailer yet? Well, this is perfect. We're breaking down the whole trailer right now. Show the trailer again. All right, because just Nate hasn't seen it. We will play it again. Oh no, twist my arm. Watch another Back 4 Blood trailer. Oh boy. I should probably turn up the volume.
We have strolled across our world as giants. Until we finally faced our David. This tiny worm, whose emergence was buried beneath the mountain of politics. That's all it took to show us how insignificant we are. And by the time people
shit.
paid attention, it was already too late. But now, there is hope. For there are those among us that are not cowed by the terrors of this new world. Ones that are immune to the scourge and are ready to raise arms and take back what is ours.
Spare us the poetry, fucknuts. How do we kill it?
Need ammo here! We need to take this opportunity to press our advantage.
Another way! Back off!
Look, you know how I feel about Phillips, but he's right about one thing. This is a war.
I built this town and I'll be damned if I let you destroy it.
This is not good!
Somebody's got to do something.
And you're that somebody?
Didn't say I wanted to do it alone, did I?
Here's my prescription, bitch! We need to get out of here now!
Winners, it's time to live up to your name.
Stay down!
Now it's up to you to finish the job.
And I will tell you my oh shit moment when I saw it. So we recognize this already. This was the first act. This was level 2, and this was right before you fought the ogre for the first time. This is right out, here's the safe room was just on the other end of this overpass. We're going to get a rush of people on the 12th. Yeah, I'm excited. I am excited as shit to get to have the game 4 days early and then have a huge rush of people on the 12th and have no clue what the hell they're doing. And then we're going to seem like geniuses. We're going to have a ton of cards. They're going to be like, how the hell did you get that card? Like, we're going to have a ton of people that are going to come in. They're going to be like, I had no idea you could get it 4 days early. That sucks. I didn't even know until the 12th. And then I just got it. And then people had the game 4 days earlier. What the hell? Okay, so we have that shot. Then we have the next shot here, which was my oh shit moment, because I've seen this shot a few times and I never really thought about it. But the first thing I wanted to know is this a character that we know? And no, it is not. It does not look like anybody that we know. This is most likely a random person. But here's what I'm thinking is happening, and I didn't think about this. I bet this is like Doc's origin story. I bet this is either her brother or husband or coworker or someone that she knows. It may just be a random person off the street that was in need of help, but they've got blood all over them. Clearly, they're obviously injured because they're not walking, but she's saving them. But in this next shot, we see that she is like surrounded by Ridden. So what I'm guessing is going to happen, and when I saw this, I thought about it, and I was just like, wow. She's going to leave this guy in order to save herself, because she's dragging him along into a building. She's shooting Ridden in the face, and she's either going to like run out of ammo and realize that I can't save him. I need to let him go to save myself, and it kind of makes her become more of a hardened badass. Having to make tough choices like that, especially as a doctor, willingly kill somebody in order to save yourself so that you can save more people I'm wondering if it's something that she is going to constantly struggle with throughout the game. And again, let's touch on this. It looks like we're getting cutscenes in this game. Unless all of this is just being made for trailers, I'm really interested in how this is going to work. This may be they may have it to where like these cutscenes, you find them in game, or you complete challenges, or you get them through supply points, or like some way of acquiring these videos, and then you can go and watch them like at the main menu, like when you're at Fort Hope or something. So that may be the case, because that's kind of like what BioShock did, was you find a cassette tape, you find intel, and then when you go back to the main menu, you can watch them, and you're just watching videos. That could be how they do it. Or it could be the other alternative is that throughout the missions, we are going to be given these cutscenes. It's just, again, it's going to have to change depending on what characters are playing. And I feel like that would be a lot harder to do. So campaign, yeah, I really didn't expect cutscenes in this kind of game. Left 4 Dead didn't have any cutscenes. They had, the characters just talked throughout the whole time, and they had like, kind of like an intro cinematic like shot when like you started up like the first level of a campaign, and then like they had like a kind of a zoom out shot when you finished a campaign, but that was it as far as like, a cutscene goes. There were no cutscenes in Left 4 Dead. So this is actually really nice. This takes a lot of work to do. So I would be very surprised if they had cutscenes. The other thing with cutscenes in a multiplayer game is that it also creates a whole array of problems if these cutscenes are going to happen as you play, because if the cutscenes happen, let's say at the end of like a certain mission, and you've already seen that cutscene 10 times, and you're just like, you can almost quote it at this point, you don't want to see it again. So either A, is there going to be like a way to skip the cutscenes where like a certain amount of people vote and the cutscene will be skipped? B, can you just choose to not watch the cutscene and go like do something else while everyone else watches it? Or is there just not going to be a way to stop cutscenes, which means that it's going to slow down the pacing of the game, and when you've played through the campaign 20 times, the cutscenes are going to be very annoying to have to watch. So I'm wondering on how they are going to get around this. It's either going to be like, yeah, you hold a button to skip it, and then you can individually skip the cutscene. B, you have to hold a button to skip it, and then you have to get like 3 out of the 4 people to skip it, or 4 out of 4 or something. Or B, or C, put the cutscenes with intel that you watch when you are not actually playing a campaign. So we'll see how this happens, but I'm guessing this is going to be Doc's like thing, because she's looking at him, she's looking back, she shot like 1 or 2 of them, and then she puts her gun down, and now she's fully dragging the guy. I think that scene is going to end. This is my prediction. I can't wait to see what actually happens, but my prediction is going to be she's surrounded by Ridden. She's trying to save this guy, which I'm hoping is like her brother or husband, because that would give it such more of an emotional connection to the character. I think having an emotional connection to these characters is the whole reason that you even care about characters in the first place in movies, TV shows, or video games. So I think if you could make that be like her husband, and then she like she breaks down and cries and she sobs, and like she has to leave him, and he like turns and like begs for her not to leave, and like the final shot is like her closing the door, and like they lock eyes with each other, and then she like locks the room down and then like just weeps in the building, I think would be a great way to like introduce her character. I think that would be great. I will be very emotionally invested in her. I will love playing as her. I will want to like hear some callback voice lines of the person that she had to abandon. I think that would be a good way to have her character. Don't know if that's going to happen. Again, that could be a random person for all we know, and she doesn't really have much remorse killing them, other than the obvious remorse of, oh, it's a human being and I have to kill them for me to live. But I think it'd be much better if she was related to them somehow. or it was her spouse. So right here we have, we have a guy running down the street. I can't make out exactly what that poster says. It almost looks like it says Pyston or D. It's like something Yston. It could be Boston. It could be a B. But even then, is that how Boston is? No, Boston is an O. It'd be Boston. So that'd be Byston. It'd be like Appa. Yip, Byston. Got a random guy running down the street. Chances, I don't think this is a character that we're playing as. This doesn't look like Walker, even though he has the hat backwards. Doesn't look like Jim. It doesn't look like anybody. So I think it's just a random person running down the street. They spot a snitch, or the snitch spots them, or both. Here we have another shot of a level that I cannot wait to see in the game, is the prison level. They haven't really shown much of this except for this shot, one other shot of actually them being inside that corridor on the right hand side, which actually you can't see because my camera's in the way. Yeah. There you go. Corridor on the right-hand side. They actually have gameplay of the characters being in that corridor and making their way into the prison. This could be a school. We know that there's a school in the game. This would be very interesting if this was a school, because it could be, but I feel like with the amount of military equipment that's around it and barbed wire, it doesn't seem like this would naturally be a school. I think that this is a prison. It would be easier. I think my camera being here might get in the way less. Okay, so we have a police armory, which sounds exciting. It sounds like this is definitely... This makes me, having 1-1, it makes me think that it's Act 1, Mission 1, but it obviously isn't. I think this would be a very realistic thing to do in the apocalypse is, hey, someone has clearly written the word armory on the outside of this police station. Then again, I don't know why you would want people to come into the place that that has guns. I would either take all the guns out of there, and then the only reason you'd put armory on the outside of the building would be to trap people and get them to come inside, but then find out there's no weapons and then booby trap the place or something to lessen the competition, I guess. Then again, I think at this point, I think what the devs have actually said about this game is, I went from 13 viewers to 6 just like that. That was crazy. Holy cow. It still says 13 on my end, but we went down to 6 viewers. What the devs have already said about the game is that it's more supposed to be about, it's less about kind of Walking Dead, where you're mostly, the zombies are kind of annoying, but you mostly are having to look out for people, and people are the real evil thing in the apocalypse, and everyone's being greedy, everyone wants to kill each other, everyone just wants to murder. And this game is supposed to be less on the people aren't bad. It's gotten to the point to where the bad people are gone and everyone is just trying to survive. There might be a bad guy somewhere in the campaign or something, but they already said that the campaign for this is supposed to be more about hope and trying to find hope than it is about the apocalypse being a depressing, horrible place. It's less about that and more about we're trying to find other people because there really aren't that many at all left anymore, and we're trying to get other people to help the cause, kind of thing. So, but yeah, Armory, I'm excited for that mission. I think it'd be really interesting. It might even be the first or second mission that we could have, and have the characters, start with only pistols and they can't even get a weapon to spawn with. But then you find an armory. Well, obviously this wouldn't work because we know what Act 1 is going to be already. So the armory police mission is clearly at least Act 2. 2 or somewhere in the middle of Act 1 that we haven't seen. So scrap that idea. But then we get a shot of Fort Hope, which, me and Cookie have discussed many times. I'm wondering, so we got a supply person here. Oh, I'm gonna love talking to them every day. Oh man, every single day we're gonna talk to them and be like, hello, give me cards, please. We've got our gunsmith here, which we've speculated on what that is. I don't know exactly what it is, and the devs haven't confirmed either, but we don't know what like this gunsmith armory does in the game. Cookie mentioned that we pretty much agreed that it seems like it's a place where you could customize the look of your gun. Oh, thank you, Dino Lover. Feel free to spam through like any game that I have on Steam that you also have that you would want to play, because I'll if it's still an interesting-ish game, I'll re-download stuff even. But Deep Rock Galactic just got an update today. I want to play that. Phasmophobia is still fun. But yeah, Alien Fireteam Elite is mostly what I'm pretty much like. I'm playing it like once a day for like an hour, but not much longer than that usually. But if you get that, I would play with that. Anyway, other stuff. But it looks like it's still cut off, and that's what was really disappointing about the beta, is that I wanted to go and explore the helicopter area. They have like gardens and stuff, and I wanted to be able to explore that. It looks like it's cut off still using the like separators, and you can't go beyond this point, which I hope changes, or I hope that like as you complete missions in the campaign, you'll be able to unlock it. I slowed it down because I'm noticing something in the background. Like I see a specific tower out there, that could be the church that you go to in Act 1. I'm just guessing. Oh, you bought Fat is confusing? Mad Moonies, what's confusing about it? Please, I will help in any way that I can with Phasmophobia. Because at this point, I've played it enough where I'm like, need something new. Yeah, but I noticed this like heart-shaped thing, like or some kind of weirdly neon sign. Okay, so this is a part. Like this is a part I wanted to slow down, and you can only go so slow, but. Seeing Walker put in this magazine into this weapon, like it just snaps in so perfectly, and he just like snaps it in and lets go of it, and it just seems like the way that he puts it in just seems so unrealistic that like you would need to make sure it's definitely in there, like smack the bottom of it or something. I do realize that it is a shooting game, so you as a player want the characters to load their weapons as quickly as possible. But I figure for cinematic purposes they would have just like a different way of doing it. But we've got Carly, and then we have Doc there loading her gun. So we have Jim smacking the truck, which we know is now like, and then this next section here, he smacks the truck, and then they apparently are getting away. Someone else is driving. It could be Phillips. I have no idea, but it looks like we've got Hoffman, Doc, Carly, and Jim, which are 3 out of the 4 people we didn't get to play as at the beta. So that's pretty cool to see all of them together in one shot finally. I don't know if we've actually had a clip of all of them in one shot, but I'm hoping that this isn't the end of a level. I'm assuming that it is, but I'm hoping that we actually get to go into the back of a truck, and someone is going to drive around town periodically. Like the truck will run over something and like stall, or they'll like they'll have to stop for something, like another horde is popping up, and then he's have to turn and like go down another street. I'm hoping that you get to play on the back of this truck shooting Ridden for like 60 seconds or so at least, and until getting to like the next section. I think that would be cool. So we got this. We got them shooting at the back of a truck. We have an explosion. We have an explosive blood gut transition onto the George Washington Bridge, where we blow up the boat. We get the camera to swing right past Evangelo. Then we got Walker sliding over this truck while kicking the Ridden. Even though actually the Ridden totally moved there before he made contact with it, but whatever. It's a video game. Maybe his knee actually collided with it. Maybe that's what that was. But you would think right now we would actually end up seeing Hoffman, because we've seen Evangelo, we've seen Walker, and then we have Holly at the end. So Hoffman is the other fourth person that's kind of like in the main group. But then we swing around here and we see Mom, who has a bandana on? Hang on a second. We might be seeing our first piece of like confirmed in-game seeing it cosmetic, because Mom has a bandana here, and in the other shot she's got a red one that covers, this is her default look. She's got a red bandana that kind of covers like some of her forehead and then like the top of her head. This shot is, she's got a black one on, and it's a lot thinner, and it's over like mostly like just her forehead there, but not really like it's meeting like her hairline. So this is definitely a cosmetic of some kind, because this is not the default look for Mom. So that's interesting. Yeah. Hey, Existential Crisis. How is it going? How are you? How is life? Are you ready for Back 4 Blood? Then we have Holly here not using a baseball bat, which is Dottie, is the name of her baseball bat. Careful, you actually have a Ridden right behind you there, Holly. But she's got a light machine gun and she's spamming it down. Then we have the part with Mom. This looks like it's actually the very, very end of the campaign when they're in the helicopter. And because they're clearly in a helicopter. They're not in a train or anything. It looks like they're up in the air, and Hoffman and Carly are also there. And Mom is asking, yeah, how do we kill it? Clearly referring to it as the big giant boss thing at the very end of the trailer. I'm good and I'm excited. How about you? Beyond excited. Everyone in the chat here is very, very excited for Back 4 Blood. Hell yes. Very ready for this game to come out. But before that, we still have the Vanguard beta for at least 2 or 3 days of it that we'll get to play. But then after that, we've got, so the Vanguard beta, let me go double check. Vanguard beta, we don't have to wait too long, I suppose, because the beta runs until the 20th, and then after the 20th, we will get to, Mad Moonies is playing Dead by Daylight. After the 20th, we'll just have to wait about 2.5 weeks until Back 4 Blood. So we're definitely getting closer. We're getting a lot closer. I barely have any more footage to go through as far as like the beta went from my streams. So we're pretty dry on that. I think I've got maybe like an hour of footage left, which isn't much at all. So, but anywho, Mom is asking, how do we kill it? It seems like this is I originally thought this was a van when I saw this shot the first like 3 times that we watched the trailer, but it's clear now that this is definitely the helicopter that they're in right before they go to fight this big creature. And I love her facial expressions in this, by the way. Like the way that she says this line is just great. I love that her eyebrows kind of like go up, and she's like, okay, yeah, but how do we kill it? Like, she's like genuinely curious about like, how do we kill it? Oh God, I forgot it was on the playback speed.
Spare us the poetry, fucknuts. How do we kill it?
I think her facial expression was on point there. I think that was a perfect representation of how someone would ask that question. And like, if they just had her face being monotone, it'd be like, all right, spare us. How do we kill it? Like, I feel like that would be too like just bland. The fact that she kind of like raised her eyebrows, like really asked like, okay, how do we kill it? Like, she has no idea. I loved that. That was great. So then we have it looks like maybe Walker or maybe Carly. No, it's Walker. Punching a Ridden here. We have our first, as far as I can recall, this is our first look at Phillips, and he is the main, if there were to be an antagonist in the game, it looks like it's going to be Phillips. He's the guy that recruited us, and it seems like we are, like he built Fort Hope, from what we heard in the trailer. He's been at Fort Hope since the beginning, and he's made it what it is. We are out, and we are trying to get rid of the Ridden and purge the areas of Ridden to make it a safer place. But we definitely disagree a lot with him. It seems like Phillips is just like a badass military guy who doesn't take any shit from anyone. But then again, neither do our characters, as told by Mom in like the next scene. Like, we definitely disagree with Phillips a lot. So I don't know what he did that we don't like. I kind of know why we still don't know really why he doesn't like us. In the campaign on the farm mission, on like the 10th mission or whatever it was, or like the 5th mission of the beta, our characters mention like, I'm so sorry that you didn't trust us, but I'm sorry for what we did, but now we're trying to earn your trust again. And he says, oh, you want to earn my trust? Go to the mines and find out what happened to the Blue Dog group, which is what we do in the beta. So clearly, like, we did something that made him distrust us. We'll find out that, what happens with that when the actual game launches. But then let's look at the actual picture here. This might be like our first debriefing of like the first mission we go on, because it looks like we have a supply crate here that has like all of our stuff in it, and it looks like he's got a map of northern Evansburg, which is the first act of the game. Is you go to Evansburg. So I'm very curious about that. It says clean, loot, survive. So clean, obviously meaning that to go and kill all the Ridden, because we are cleaners. Loot everything, and survive. I can't really read what any of this other stuff says. It looks like it says don't loot or something like that. But we're clearly, here's the exit gate into like the first mission. This could be either in the middle of so we didn't really get a really good shot. This definitely isn't the first mission, because we start Act 1, Level 1 in like a hotel, and then we make our way up and out onto the roof, and then go outside into like another area. So this cutscene is definitely not from the first mission, or maybe even the first act, but yeah, because you can see right outside, it's kind of like dusk out. You see some smoke, and yeah. So, but this is inside some kind of safe room. And then in the next shot, we have Doc to our right, and we have Jim on our left, rocking the sniper rifle. But it looks like our character, shoots him with a pistol, and gives them the double tap to make sure they're dead, and then just jumps freaking out of the window here. Jumps out of the window with a grenade in hand, and doesn't take any fall damage. Or I feel like that would definitely take some fall damage. Then again, that might be just on the cusp of not fall damage, because you could in the first level, jump from the ladder onto the floor and you don't take fall damage, but this kind of just seems a little crazier going out of the building. I also wanted to just I wanted to take just touch on the actual landscape of the area. It looks like we're in some kind of city or neighborhood of some kind, but the building that we're in looks closer to like a hospital. And across the way, obviously, it looks like it's a man-made bridge is going from that house to this building. There's spikes on the fence that someone has put there with boards up against them to keep them in place. We're definitely in some kind of neighborhood of survivors or ex-survivors of some kind. Maybe we get cutscenes that bring us to those locations in the safe room. It's very possible. I still don't know how they're going to work the cutscenes as far as like, like, can everyone skip them, or are they going to be if they're unskippable? I think that is going to be the most annoying thing that they could do. If they have unskippable cutscenes and you have to watch the cutscene every single time, then that would be just like they're going to have to change that like a week after the game launches. However, another way that they could do it, and this is like really specific, but it is in a few games, if everyone in your party has seen the cutscene, then you have the ability to skip it. But if there's even one person in your party that hasn't seen this cutscene, then you can't skip the cutscene. You have to watch it. So that could also be another way of doing it. There's like 5 or 6 different ways that they could do this whole cutscene thing. I think the easiest would be just find intel around the, then again, like if you found like intel around the map that gave you cutscenes, it also wouldn't really make any sense, would it? Because that scene with Phillips with our characters in the safe room wouldn't really make any sense to go and watch that later on. See, I don't know how they're going to do the cutscenes. That's something that we just have to wait for. They're not going to release the information on cutscenes before the release of the game, so we're just have to wait to see that. Probably have to vote system. Everyone agrees to skip the cutscene. That honestly seems like the best way. I definitely won't be skipping any cutscenes for the first maybe 2 or 3 times that I see the cutscene, but I think after 3, I'll probably be voting to skip cutscenes. Because at that point, if you need everyone to vote to skip it and not just skipping it individually yourself, like we mentioned earlier as a possibility, if you need everyone to skip it, then you're going to have, usually in the first month that the game is going to be out, you're usually probably going to have like one person that doesn't skip it. Either the cutscene is started and they've using this time to go to the bathroom or get a drink or something, and they're not even there, or B, it's someone that hasn't even seen the cutscene and of course they don't want to skip it. So even if you've seen it and you're skipping it, if you need everyone in order to skip the cutscene, you're going to be watching them a lot probably, which is probably fine as long as the cutscenes aren't too long. If a mission takes 5 to 10 minutes to play, but you're watching a cutscene that takes 3 minutes, I kind of feel like while watching this cutscene, I could have gone through half of this level that I'm about to play. So, yeah, like I would think it would be like Left 4 Dead's voting system, where either, you vote to kick people, you need the majority, you vote to skip the end credits of Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah. My phone has low battery. Yeah, that's honestly probably the best way. And considering that it's the makers of Left 4 Dead, I would think they would have the same voting system. I am honestly very, very excited for the vote to kick option, because that was in the beta, but it didn't work. And people who are trolls, I am going to love kicking them, because when you have 3 out of the 4 people that hate this one person that is trolling, then they need to go. However, on the other end, I'm thinking that players like me that play it so many times that they run through everything, because all I'm here for is to get supply points or to get more copper or to maybe collect something from the mission to take back with me to Fort Hope. Or I don't know if that's how like cosmetics are going to work, but if I'm just wanting to get to the end and I'm sitting there for like 3 minutes before everyone else gets there, then that could be a reason for people to vote me out. And to be honest, sometimes when you vote to kick somebody and someone goes to reject the vote, they accidentally hit the yes button instead of the no button. So if you just even have someone trying to kick you, you might have people voting yes. And, you know, obviously you're going to vote no, but if you actually have 2 other people that actually hit the yes button, then you never know. So anyway, let's continue on here. So yeah, it looks like this is definitely Carly based on her, you know, the color of her nails are purple, her hair is purple, her fingerless gloves. It looks like we're playing as Carly right now. She jumps out of the window, throws a grenade, but that isn't even the most interesting part of this clip, other than she doesn't take any fall damage. She comes out of the smoke and she switches to a blade that we have never seen before. You know, in the beta, they already told us that all of the weapons that are in the game were in the beta. We have not seen this knife before. It is very, very possible, and it is probably 95% likely that this is a melee weapon that is just for Carly. What we might be seeing here is actually she's using the card where you can charge up your melee attack and then lunge forward, and it does 100% more damage, and that's why the knife is held rather than just being stabbed. Because that's the only time where you can actually hold the melee weapon in frame. That is just like a pressing V to melee kind of weapon. You know, this kind of knife looks like it would definitely be on par for her character. This doesn't look like something that you would pick up in the world and then use. I'm thinking that, you know, we might even have it to where each character has a different knife. You know, Carly might have this, Walker might have this, Hoffman might have this, Mom will have this. You know, someone has a butterfly knife, someone has a kitchen knife. You know, we might have it to where the characters have different melee weapons as their default melee weapons. You never know. That's just a speculation. It could be a knife skin. Yeah, we still don't know how the cosmetics are going to work. We're assuming that it's going to be from supply points, the same way that you unlock banners and sprays and titles, cards, and cosmetics, is assuming that's how we're going to unlock them. But then again, I don't know what the point of having the gunsmith at Fort Hope is, because that's what I thought would come from the cosmetic. You obviously aren't going to be able to customize a weapon before going into a match, unless you're maybe starting in the middle of a campaign. Because if they're going to give you starting weapons on level 1 when you first go into the level, there's no reason, you know, unless those are for the people that have never played before, and like you're starting, you have nothing, you have to pick up one of those starting weapons. But if you can customize your own weapon with its own attachments, with its own skin at Fort Hope, and then bring that weapon in with you every time you start, which totally makes sense. It makes sense that you would go out after your first act and you would find a weapon you'd want and bring it back to Fort Hope and then be able to customize it and like keep it forever. That makes sense actually but if you could do that, that means that every single time that you play, I'm just going to be using, like, I'm going to be spawning in with a gun that's more powerful than I could actually find in the world, and which alleviates the reason to like pick up other weapons and attachments if you can create your own custom weapon, which I like. That makes sense that you can do that, but it also would take away from, you know, looting and finding weapons if you can just make your own and then bring it into every single level. So, I thought that was my first thought, was the gunsmith is for weapon skins, not for customizing weapons. And I'm hoping that's what it actually is. It seems kind of weird to have an entire like shop that they have, like a guy running it with all those weapons behind him and then all the weapons in front of him, just to have that spot to change your skin on the weapons. It kind of seems like they could have just done that in like the main like a menu system. You know, if they did go all out just to be able to put skins on the weapons, like they have a character just for that, and they even have weapons behind him, you know, it kind of doesn't make any sense why he would have so many guns behind him. Beep. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Teresa. What is our cat's? What is our cat? What breed is our cat? There was someone in here earlier. I think they left, but there was someone in here earlier that was wondering what our cat was. And they have pictures of their kitten in the Discord if you didn't already notice. You look so handsome in that lighting. Oh, thank you. I need to clean up my beard though, but I'll do that probably by the time that the Call of Duty beta comes out, because until then it's like, he's a domestic long hair. Good enough. Easy to, okay. Boom. Dino, if you're still here somewhere, there you go. My cat is a domestic long hair. So yeah, it's kind of weird that they would have a character have a bunch of weapons behind them and in front of them just to put skins on weapons and not customize the weapon. But then again, that also creates a conundrum of, well, now I don't need to loot anything as far as weapons go, because now I have the best weapon I will ever have. I'm hoping that there's another system of, like, when you level up, you unlock attachments that you can put on whatever weapon you have. Or maybe this will be crazy. I couldn't imagine them doing this, but it would be crazy if whatever weapon you had when the campaign ended, you brought that back to Fort Hope, and then you could customize that weapon, and it would like get added to an inventory system. So it would encourage you to finish the campaigns with different weapons in order to like kind of collect every weapon in the game and be able to customize it. I think that would be very interesting, but I think that's too much to ask for. That's a crazy system to implement, and I doubt they did that, but that would be a really cool way of getting people to unlock attachments and things for weapons. Because the guy standing there, it seems like it would make the most sense to do that, to have a person, you know, their full-time job is to customize weapons for you to bring out into the field. So then here we have Mom talking about, like, you know how I feel about Phillips, but he is a fighter and a badass. So this guy we've seen in other trailers. You know, I don't remember seeing him at Fort Hope in the beta. He might be like a vehicle expert or something. He's not our gunsmith guy. He's not the person we get the cards from. And he's not the guy that we talk to start the campaign or PvP. This is some other side character that we've seen in a lot of trailers that the characters like confide in and really talk to, but I don't know what his actual job is. It looks like he's in a garage, which makes me think that he's maybe like the town mechanic or something, but I really don't know. But we see them talking to him, and then we're gonna get some shots of assuming Ridden are running by there, but then we get a shot. This might be like Phillips's like origin story, like showing like where he came from or something. But he gets onto a minigun and mows down a bunch of Ridden there. Not much to say about that. You know, this might be a level that we eventually, you know, we'll get to play. It looks like this sign up here says like something land. It might be like Kitty Land. There might be some kind of like callback to like Kitty Land or something from Left 4 Dead. But basically we're just seeing a 5-second shot here of Phillips doing that. So now we have officially the school, which I'm so glad we get to see like inside this gymnasium. You know, you have, you know, ammo boxes, you've got crates, you've got, more importantly, sleeping bags everywhere. Obviously the school is abandoned. I wonder if we'll see any dead children in the game, because that is something that would be very realistic, but I don't know if they will put in the game like dead kids. You know, even if this is maybe they could play that off and say, well, this is a college, so that's possible. And instead of having kids, they would be college students, so they would be, you know, in their 20s or something. So it might be a little workaround, but yeah, I agree. I doubt it. They probably won't have any dead kids in the game. So we have Holly, Walker, and Evangelo, and then what other fourth person? But it looks like Evangelo is rocking the ranch rifle. Is definitely some kind of single shot weapon. And then we have, looks like they're not even paying attention, behind them literally drops in, which I like the animation of it dropping in, but we get an ogre dropping in to the school, which is really weird because I'm wondering why there's a giant hole in the ceiling anyway. I'm hoping that's explained in some way. I don't know why. I don't know what or why there is a giant hole already, but it looks like we're at the Finley Knights, which I believe is Finley a part of Evansburg. Whenever we had Phillips talking to us, was that? Oh, there we go. Yeah, Finley, North Evansburg. So Finley is at Evansburg, which is where our characters are at. So this might even be sometime during the first act, unless we're going to be in Evansburg for like all 4 acts. Like maybe Evansburg is where the entire game takes place, which is very possible because the devs said that it takes place in a fictional place, kind of like in like Montana or something. So it's very possible that we just never leave Evansburg throughout the whole campaign. But anywho, for some reason, there's a big hole in the ceiling and an ogre drops down into it. Maybe this is its usual spot and it drops down a lot, but basically you get the ogre screaming bloody murder at us. You know, we get a better shot of like what its weak points are. You're really going to have to shoot this thing from the side or behind because it doesn't have any weak spots in the front of the ogre. When I first, actually, never mind. There's a stomach right there. Boom, weak spot, stomach. When I first saw this, I thought this was actually the breaker because I was like, oh, they're not going to have an ogre just jump down and attack all of our people in a small confined space. But then when they zoom out here on this next shot and they show how big it is, this is definitely not a breaker. This is definitely an ogre. So we're definitely playing on probably like veteran or something, because these like ferocious pharaohness, whatever they're called, ridden, look like, you know, this could be on casual, and then they have like the upgraded ridden, but these guys look extra spiky. So which I've seen on like veteran rather than casual. But it looks like here we have a minigun, so they're going to give you a minigun setup, and it looks like it's actually got, instead of just having a minigun and putting it down, it actually looks like it's fed in through a ammo box here, which is great. That's pretty badass. But then it looks like that there's a generator here also, and this is probably what you activate to like finish the mission, which is what spawns in the ogre. So got them with the AK here, and they're shooting, they turn. And this is the most that we see of the auditorium here, because as soon as we hit play here, the ogre is going to swipe at us and it's going to go into the next scene. It looks like whoever's playing this, either like Mom or Holly or something, you know, there's a ridden attacking Evangelo on the minigun. Can you at least shoot the ridden right there, Holly? But yeah, it looks like this is going to be a finale place where you're going to have to fight an ogre. It, you know, for all I know, it might be, you know, there's an ogre on veteran, or this might be an ogre every time that you play this level. You never know. I feel like this is a guaranteed time that you're going to get an ogre because of the giant hole in the ceiling. I feel like is like, I guess sometimes I guess if they could make it to where sometimes you don't get an ogre here like they did in the alpha, that would be kind of cool. But I think it would also take away from the finale if you didn't have to fight an ogre. But you know, I was wondering the same thing like at the very final mission of Act 1 where you blow it up, but if you play Veteran or Nightmare, you get an ogre every time on that final mission where you're loading the howitzer. But But if you play on casual, you don't ever get an ogre there. So I'm wondering if that'll kind of work the same way. But here we have multiple characters. This might be when we're meeting some character for the first time. This is obviously another cutscene. This is very different from a lot of levels that we've played. Usually they're dark, and they take place at night. But it looks like this is in broad daylight. This might be after we've completed a level. However, there's 5 characters here, which makes me think that we are meeting someone for the first time. And it seems like it's either Walker or Mom, because we have Holly, Mom, Walker, Doc, and Jim, and either Jim and Doc haven't met yet, and like they're just already best friends, because he goes in here and he gives her a fist bump, and they fist bump each other. So it's either this is their way of meeting, or they're meeting up again. So that's really interesting. I love that dynamic between. I love that they're friends, and it's not like, who are these people? So either they're meeting each other, which is just a cool way of meeting someone else. But based on the dialogue here, Walker is saying, let's actually get a quote of what he's saying here, because he basically is saying,
Somebody's got to do something.
And you're that somebody?
Didn't say I wanted to do it alone, did I?
So yeah, he said, somebody has to do something. And she said, and you think you're that somebody. The conversation sounds like, when he says somebody has to do something, it makes it sound like Walker is being introduced to the team, which is kind of weird, because he gives me the vibe of like he's been there since the beginning. But when he's saying, well, somebody has to do something, and then Mom's like, and you think you're the person to do that, it kind of seems like he's kind of on the outside here. So this might be like the first time we meet Walker, or around that area. But then they cut to after they're done getting the awesome fist bump and like smiling. Oh, that's so cool. First of all, let's take a second and just step back. The graphics, this cutscene of Mom looks awesome. The lighting is perfect. Even like the creases on her face here, showing the shadow from the light coming in from her right. It just looks fantastic. The leather looks a little worn and faded and wrinkled on her belt that's across her chest here. The shotgun being kind of like the paint is being chipped, and like the actual lettering on the side of it. Like her graphic wise, she just looks so good, Mad Moonies. Like it just looks gorgeous. And then like seeing her they obviously did motion capture for this, because unless these guys are just the most amazing animators ever, then it looks like these facial expressions and like attitude and everything definitely is not animated. It looks like it's definitely motion captured. She's like, oh, and you think you're the one to do that. So now here we've got a very interesting shot, which if you remember from earlier, I was saying, make sure you remember that very first part of the trailer when we saw that blue smoke coming up with the, maybe Walker hazmat guy that had like the mortar that blew something up, and he was wearing the hazmat suit, and like the smoke was like a bluish color, which is really weird. So that might be some kind of like toxin or something. But we basically have this map, which looks awesome because it doesn't look like it's really taking place really at night. So it's not super scary. I like kind of the realism of not every mission needs to be at 1 o'clock in the morning or at 11 o'clock at night or something where like the sun is down and you can't see nothing. I really, really love the ambiance of this area. But obviously the first thing we see is we see a bunch of Ridden there, and we have Hoffman shooting at them next to a red barrel, which is perfect, because I'm sure the obvious thing to do there was going to be just like kind of shoot once and get their attention and have them run towards you and then shoot the barrel and explode them. Something else is coming off here, which I did not notice the first or second or even third time that I've watched this. I'm just now realizing that there is someone up there shooting off either a signal flare that we need to like escape. This could be like the final area of a campaign, or this is someone shooting a mortar and shooting off into the zombie horde. But either way, we turn here and we see Holly run up and use the stun gun on this blighted Ridden here and zaps it. I actually thought that was a Ridden on the floor, but we have Doc actually is down. Doc is laying down on the floor on her back while shooting Ridden. I didn't even notice that. I thought that was actually just a dead Ridden body. And usually the first thing you notice when you see this thing is you see the electricity of Holly, hitting the blighted Ridden, and it kind of takes your attention away from the left side where Doc is. But I'm very excited to get to actually go through this house because it looks like a very antique-y looking house where they like a very rich person would have lived there that collected like rare fish or paintings or old muskets or something. It just looks like a cool house. I'm excited to just at least walk through it. I'm hoping we at least get to. But anyway, I love the hedges. I love just the whole ambiance. I love the gazebo in the back. I love, the whole, like, this obviously private property kind of thing. And like, you have a gate to enter the front of the house. I think the ambiance is just really, really cool for this shot in this level. But anyway, she goes over, she punches it, she uses the stun gun, she zaps this blighted. And then this guy, my first reaction to this is still going to be the same reaction I had every time. What the hell are you doing? Are you, like, is this Walker? I can't really tell from the, it could be Carly. Based off of the hand we have here, it's someone that has some kind of glove. It could be Walker, because of the scene we just had with Walker talking to Mom and him saying, like, I didn't say I wanted to do it alone, making me think that this is Walker. But it's obviously not Hoffman, Holly, or Doc because they're all three present on the level. But could be Carly, but I'm just going to guess that it's Walker because of the previous scene. But however, this guy runs in with a Vector here, a submachine gun, and he runs in and just hip fires when all of these Ridden are around them. But here's the more interesting thing, which you probably already saw. In the right-hand side of the screen, we have the same colored explosion from the very beginning of the trailer. When they showed this must be the same mission, and this is the mortar that we're seeing. It's just this is the angle from that second floor of that house, and this is someone that we've met or come across or something. However, No. Okay, never mind. These are different shots. This is a different place. This is the top of the roof from the first level of Act 1. These are the letters that are on the roof of Act 1 right before you lower the bridge and like summon a horde. But then it shows this guy with a mortar next to him with this blue explosion fog thing. Yet this is definitely the same thing. And there's a mortar that comes off of the house from the second floor up here. Now, we don't see anyone. There's no one up there. You can very, very clearly see there's no one there unless they are crouched down. This is definitely not the same spot where we see this guy. Because the background of him is the sky with other buildings and then the sign there, which is from Act 1, Level 1. This is definitely a different place. However, there's still a mortar here being shot off. And then you can see the blue smoke. I don't know what to make. See, like, there's an explosion right there. I don't know what to make of this. Either one of two or three things is happening here. Either A, that first shot is not related to the next shot, and this is actually where we're at right now in the trailer, or these two are actually are shots that are right next to each other, and it's a guy in a hazmat suit on the roof, and then a guy shooting a mortar, but he's shooting it into a city or something. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm also noticing something else. Hang on. Okay, in this shot, look at the trees. This is very, very important. Look at the trees. Notice this tree and like how its leaves are. And then the background, you got a big tree back there. But more importantly, look at this tree and look at this dead one that is right here. Kind of ignore this one because we're not going to be able to see it in the shot. But this dead tree right here, it sure does look like these trees. Does it not? Look at that tree right there where like it's very full in the like the upper half, but then kind of like random branches in the middle of it. And then you've got the dead tree here. It looks like the same tree. Yeah, it's very full in the top half and then has random branches, and then there's a dead tree right here. I think this shot and this shot are in the same place, unless the trees are just a freaking huge coincidence. Considering it's also the same time of day too. It's like the night sky is the same. However, so I'm thinking that this is a separate place, because this area with the chimney with the words behind him is definitely not the same as this. He would have shutters behind him. He'd have other windows, you know, whatever. The only thing I'm trying to see now is if we can see a dead tree anywhere in this kind of area, but we don't get any shot of that. So they just did two cuts back to back to try to make you think that those were related, but they're definitely in different spots. Now we have the awesome clip of Doc, you know, saying, "Here's my prescription, bitch." You know, showing just how badass she is. It looks like it's in a theater, which could still be at the school. This could be the theater at the school, which is a heavily, I'm heavily guessing that. Like it definitely seems like this is the school level. But you can see here that the Ridden have spikes, have like Wolverine claws coming out of their fists. So that even more to, you know, they're on their face, they're on their arms, they're on their body. But now when you get punched by a Ridden, there's spikes coming out of their fists. That's just crazy. And then it says Go Knights. This is obviously at the same school that we saw the ogre crash down into, where we saw the Finley Knights sign, like banner behind it. And then this one says never surrender, never surrender. So then we have Doc here jump off of it with her pistol, with her Desert Eagle nonetheless, and start hip firing at the Ridden. Oh, that was a nice transition. I didn't really notice that. As soon as she shoots this Ridden, it goes into another shot, and then Evangelo and Carly. This level also looks very interesting. This is clearly not the same bridge as the George Washington Bridge that we're at in Act 1, but it looks like this is, you know, the very end of a mission. We're obviously trying to collect some kind of crate or something, because there is a helicopter here to take us away, but the helicopter also has a cable attached to it with something attached to the bottom that we actually get on top of. So it looks like you have to fight your way towards this broken down bridge, which this looks like something out of a Call of Duty Warzone. Like it looks like we're near like some kind of harbor, because you can see other ships or boats that are like wrecked here. The cars have all that weird Ridden vine goo coming out of it. You've got half an airplane broken over here, and then you have like another, like a barge, like a ship over here, and then like a pier with an American flag on it. And it looks like you fight your way over to this where you're on some kind of broken down bridge and you've got some kind of crate that you're having to deliver back to Fort Hope. And it looks like you get on it and then it takes you away. Carly's hair is growing on me. I think she looks even more badass. So we have Walker, someone I'm guessing is still Holly because we don't have any gloves on this hand or anything. But it looks like we're approaching the school. It says pre-screened personnel only. It's kind of hard to read there. Pre-screened personnel only on a sign here with some graffiti. It looks like we're heading into a school. So, I kind of thought this was maybe the prison because I'm seeing like barbed wire around here. It might be trees. I'm pretty darn sure it's barbed wire, but it makes me think that so people like held up in the school, which I guess obviously they did if we saw inside of the gymnasium, there was a bunch of sleeping bags and everything everywhere. So people obviously like stayed there. But I was thinking barbed wire, I associate that with like a prison, but this looks like it's the school based on like the brick outer walls and the colorings and like the graffiti. Then we're back in a neighborhood, which gives me the same vibes as when we had this scene with Carly, like running out and jumping, because this like same kind of neighborhood style looks like the same. So we have Holly whacking him with the bat while Evangelo's crouching in the back. And then we have this big ass thing that this mission is actually like in the dead of night. It is midnight, somewhere between midnight and like 4 a.m. It is pitch black. It is scary as shit. And you've got this giant ass creature that is the source of all of these like tentacles that are coming out of the ground that we've seen in other trailers. And this is when we have Mom in the helicopter saying like, okay, so how do we kill it? So we've got this thing, it roars at us. We've got the hazmat guy, which I'm guessing is not Walker. Mad Moonies, I think we should just confirm this now. The guy in the hazmat suit is not Walker because it looks like he's part of the cutscene with this other guy who looks like he could be this guy that we saw earlier. This guy that we meet up with at the church could be the same guy that's in the helicopter. They look pretty similar based on like their hairline, but this guy is definitely not Walker. It wouldn't make any sense for him to be Walker. It might even be someone who has been bitten. They got their mask on, but their face, their face might just be dirty, but yeah, there's no reason for them to have a cutscene and Walker would have a hazmat suit on when the playable characters are in the back of the helicopter right now. There'd be no reason for Walker to be sitting up front as a co-pilot if this was Walker. So I think we can confirm that that's not Walker now. We've got a look on Hoffman. We've got, then Walker's right there, assuming this is the same shot, we have Walker right there nodding, and then we have Mom, who is, and they're all just staring up at this gargantuan creature, which obviously we're not going to have to just shoot and fight. I mean, it looks like in its mouth is its weak spots, but I don't. I think if anything will be flying, I think it'd be this would be just me guessing, but this would be a pretty badass finale, would be if we flew around in a helicopter and we had to shoot at the tentacles until it opened its mouth and like roared at us, and then we shot inside of it to take down like a third of its health. And then we kept flying around in the helicopter, shooting at the other tentacles, and then eventually coming back to the center of it, shooting at its mouth. And then like at the final part, you would like drop a bomb or like dynamite or just some kind of explosive into the creature's mouth once it's like weakened enough. I think that would be a pretty badass finale. Now, I don't know if we're going to be fighting it. Obviously, I don't know this, but I don't know if we're going to be fighting it in the helicopter. But just based on the cutscene, it makes it seem like, you know, obviously we're going to be in the helicopter when we see this thing. So one of two things is going to happen. Either A, we're going to be fighting this thing while a helicopter flies around, which is just insane. That would be crazy for them to program that. And then, or B, this is the final shot before our helicopter gets taken down. Maybe the tentacle here on the left is actually going to swipe at the helicopter and hit it. Because here's the thing, logically, this creature could just very easily take down this helicopter. Very, very easily take down this helicopter. So if it wanted to, all it had to do is take, you know, any of those tentacles, any of the tentacles that it's got there, and just hit the helicopter, and it's done. And the helicopter obviously is not going to be able to move out of the way in time to avoid that. So I'm thinking that, you know, if it was realistic, we actually wouldn't be fighting this thing in the helicopter. It's probably going to knock us down, and then we're going to have to fight it on the ground somehow and shoot at it from there, or maybe from the top of a building. Or maybe you have to work your way up to a building to get a high enough vantage point and to be able to get like an angle to shoot its mouth. Who knows? The only thing I'm 90% certain is that this is going to be like the final boss, the finale, because they've very rarely teased this thing. They've only shown it one other time in one other trailer. And then besides that, they've only shown like the tentacles coming out of the ground. So yeah, excited for that. But that is pretty much going to do it for the Back 4 Blood trailer. We broke down this whole thing bit by bit in, 0.25 playback speed. If you haven't already, go and thumbs up the video. Also thumbs up all my videos, and make sure that it's on the Back 4 Blood channel, because if you go here and you go onto IGN, if we go onto YouTube, we go into subscriptions and we go to Back 4 Blood, IGN has 65,000 views on the video, but the actual Back 4 Blood channel has 7.4 thousand. I think you should be giving more credit to the actual people that have made the game than another gaming network company that is just way more popular, so therefore they have more views. If you're going to go watch the trailer, my last piece on this is go watch it on the actual Back 4 Blood and give them the support, not IGN.